Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, it's the intention of the BBC to be present tomorrow at the coronation of their Majesties. The Corporation have made elaborate plans for this special television broadcast, and in tonight's programme, we want to explain to the viewer some of the equipment that has been specially made for the BBC.
At EMI, we worked all the hours that God gave to get the things ready in time. The mobile control room was basically the Alexandra Palace studio equipment on wheels. Inside, we had channels for 4 electronic cameras and 2 picture monitors so that the men working inside the van could see the pictures being shot by the cameraman outside. The equipment was so heavy that the chassis of the van had to be specially strengthened. It was surprising that the thing moved at all.
In order to convey the pictures from the coronation route to the Alexandra Palace transmitter, 8 miles of special cable have been constructed and laid under the streets of London. In charge of this, the first ever high-definition television outside broadcast will be senior studio engineer T.H. Bridgewater.
We parked the mobile control room and the other vehicles on the grass under the trees behind here. And we'd chosen this site, Apsley Gate, as a well-known London scene, and one from which we hoped to get excellent views of the procession coming down the east carriage drive of Hyde Park here, and then going through the arch and beyond over Hyde Park Corner and into Constitution Hill.
Here we are at Apsley Gate. The route here is lined by RAF troops. They've just had their rations issued to them. They must be quite ready for them, poor chaps. They've been here since crack of dawn, but then so have we.
BBC sent us an enormous food hamper with cold meats and wine and fruit. In fact, we were treated like lords, and indeed we felt like lords. There was nothing that we would sooner have been on that day than a member of the BBC's television crew.
Now we've got 3 cameras working today, and they're linked up to our new television vans, which transmit to the main transmitter at Alexandra Palace. We've got 2 of our cameras high up on the gate itself, one looking up the east carriage drive. This will catch the procession as it comes into view, and the other that will take the tail of the procession after it's passed by us. The 3rd one on the pavement is within some 3 or more feet of the royal coach as it comes by.
And here I was, right on the edge of the pavement, with a wonderful view of everything, except, of course, in my viewfinder it was upside down. At one stage, an assistant commissioner of police arrived and thought that we were very near and likely to frighten the horses. We reassured him, but when the time came, every blessed horse did shy at us. Anyway, we tested all our circuits and then sat down to wait.
A last look round the camera on the pavement to see that everything's all right. And now, I'm sorry to say that conditions are against us. It started to rain, and the light is none too good. But we'll stick to it and hope for the best. It's very bad luck, as had it been an hour ago, everything would have been perfect. But now here's the head of the procession, Colonel Grant Sutty, with 4 troopers of the Household Cavalry. Band of the 1st Warwicks, leading on detachments of the Territorials.
I was inside the control van, and just as we heard that the procession had entered the Marble Arch, we lost the picture. We had standby electronic generators and transmission channels, but switching to them did absolutely no good at all. We could even hear the sound of horses' hooves getting closer and closer, and still nothing. In sheer desperation, I gave the appropriate panel a thump, and it worked.
Give place to the royal procession of state coaches. Queen Mary in her state coach. Those 8 magnificent greys drawing on that almost unbelievable state coach with their Majesties, the King and Queen.
The coronation was seen by an estimated 50,000 people and was received over 63 miles away. The climax of the first 9 months of British television, it made television respectable. And the British had beaten the rest of the world to a high-definition public television service by over 3 years. Television as we know it in this country was the achievement of A.A. Campbell Swinton, of the research team of EMI, of the pioneer engineers, artists, producers, cameramen and technicians, and of the man who first made television work, gave it publicity and impetus, if not the final system, John Logie Baird.
He stuck to his mechanical system. You know, this was the trouble, that he tried to weather every storm, more or less, on his own, because he had been the first person to get a working television picture, and it became an obsession with him. He probably was the last of the men who worked in attics, and he struggled along alone.
This wonderful age goes to show that all the world is a stage. First you heard, now you see, and you wonder what the next thing on the list will be. Waterloo, we're just